town, I think, is a great place to live. And it has a lot of different kinds of people with different levels in income. And I think whether or not you're a student or a restaurant worker or heading, CEO of a major company, there are certain qualities that bring you to Bend. And but I do think the recession has hit hard, and I think some people still don't have their jobs back. As I said, some people are losing their houses. And one of the things that's come out of this recession is that we have we had a huge growth. We didn't keep up with it completely. We have some, the city and the community put off probably some infrastructure improvements and didn't collect enough money to, didn't put together a fund, that allows us to move forward today to address some of those issues. So that's a thought. And what's really interesting right now is if you look at the investments that the city is now looking to sort of go forward and keep this, a great a great place to live. We're asking for more schools. We're asking, we have a big fundraiser in front of us for parks. And then we're trying to figure out what to do with our jails. It just, we have this huge sewer, $200 million supposedly sewer project. So, how are we going to get there? Our community to go forward needs there, but I don't know that we can solve those problems in ways that we historically have done it. It's sort of like the sewer, and here's a great example, which is that all of a sudden, you can take your gray water and you don't have to throw it back in the sewer system. You have low flush toilets. All of a sudden your effluent is thick, not runny. You have this area out in and so it's different, right? It's not like it was in 1910. How are you going to move it? What are you going to do? How are you going to address it? You have Mountain High and that whole area, that's the mess out there is too that needs addressing, and I'll just bounce across it for now. But I really think that it's important for Bend to have a new set of city councilors at the table who really will start reaching out in the community. We have a great brain fund out there, for lack of a better word, that can help us look at other ways of trying to move through these problems. Because I don't, just like the sewer is not like it was, and we've got to not just go with the flow. We have to stop, think, question, engage, and know what our core values are. And I think we all agree on the core values, but it's how are we going to move forward and keep what is great about this town.
First of all, my philosophy towards government is that we're at a crucial point regarding the recession, and it's very important that the city is very involved in economic development. And for me, it's important that the government does not create jobs. Business creates jobs. Enterprise creates jobs. So what the city can do in terms of a government entity is to make their permitting process streamlined as possible, make it easy, make it cost effective, to also initiate things like trying to get our infrastructure in place. What happened years ago when I first moved here in '78, we were a very small town, a middle town. It has changed dramatically. We went through the recession of the 1980s. We came back from that. We have grown dramatically since the late 90s, and we were not able to keep up with that. And when the recession hit again back in 2005, 6, 7, we were on a spending spree at that point, trying to get caught up with our infrastructure. And we got caught in that. Today, fortunately, with this last city council, we were able to stabilize our funding. Our budget is in balance, and we've been able to put money into reserves. So we're very stable, so that if we do infrastructure, if we do indebtedness, that we are in a very strong place. We have a AAA rating. So that budget is very, very sound at this point, and it's very stable, and I think that's very important. It's something that we've done, and it's crucial for the future. Right now, it appears that Bend is going to be growing again. We have a very innovative community. We're in an excellent position to attract businesses, but the thing is that we need to have that infrastructure, especially the sewer, because that's going to be much more crucial than our water system. We're not talking about that. It doesn't seem to be as pretty as the water system, but it's absolutely crucial. We're becoming the beer brewery area of the country. We've even gotten publicity in international papers. Last spring, during our Rotary conference there in Thailand, on the front page of one of their papers was Bend, Oregon, talking about our brewery and how this is very, very important to this community. Everybody's looking at us in terms of our future for that. We have to have a good, sound infrastructure. To me, that's where the city of Bend comes into play. We have to have good roads, we have to have good streets, we have to have a good water system and a good, sound sewer system if we're going to grow. And we don't have that choice. If we grow, that's something that's going to happen naturally, and we have to have everything in place if we're going to attract good, sound businesses. So for me, government is there for certain key issues. It's police, it's fire, not just the water system. We have to look at that, and we have to support it. And for me, that's where I'm going to be headed for in the future as well. So, thank you.
Well, if this is my last chance, I'm going to reintroduce myself. I'm a 22-year resident of Bend. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I'm a father. I describe myself as a fiscal conservative and a social liberal and a philosophic libertarian. The thing is, I believe, again, that we are in economic and environmental crisis, and that we don't talk about it enough, we don't admit it. Too much of our city business goes on day to day without, I believe, recognizing that we pattern ourselves after state and federal government that operate differently than we do. And in fact, we all know that the federal government really doesn't have a budget when they can pass a ceiling every time they need more money, which of course they borrow. We have got to stop the cycle of debt. 2.5 years ago, before I really ever considered running a campaign for office, I created a philosophy I call independence. Independence. I'll go ahead and leave this here. It's not one like this.
We're all in the fight. I hope you brought more.
I'll come by. I'll come back. I'll pass them out. That's not a political button, but I do bring attention to it because it's so core to what I do. It's the plan that I've been working in my life for years now, and I'm going to bring to City Council and to our community. It's about recognizing that federal subsidies, quite frankly, make us dependent, and quite frankly, cause us to make food buying choices and food producing choices, food and medicine, because I do believe we have the right to produce local healthy food and local healthy medicine. I think that's in danger. The basic survival right is in danger with some of the super corporations and the food producers, international food producers, that have access now, complete access to our political process and our lawmakers. These are not simple words that don't have meaning. Lawmakers, they can access our lawmakers and make them indebted, so they will tell us how to live and how to produce and consume our food here in Bend. So I believe we need city councilors that will be there, that will be prepared to stand up, because it's not going to stop until somebody stands up. And if we want change, we can't vote for it anymore. We're going to have to take our community back as individuals, and that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm stepping forward. Again, as far as independence is concerned, I define that the main goal of that is economic and environmental sustainability. The word is sustainability. It's a catchword lately, but the thing is, we have to recognize what we're doing is not sustainable. We do not have a complete economic food chain in this town. But just like somebody might have a broken nose or a funny limp, but he might have great hair, And he might get away with just being having great hair. We've got a lot of things that have been carrying us in this town. Sorry, too many people bring it up for me not to bring some attention. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'll try not to do that at city council meetings.
Oh, do.
Do. Thank you very much. Just keep it going, keep it going. In all seriousness, my 6 children live in this community. 2 of them are now adults, and the rest are teenagers. And although I'm not a part of their daily life, unfortunately, I'm doing everything I can to make this community better. And that's just not a catchphrase. I volunteer because that's my answer to community subsidy, to empowering me to say I believe in what they're doing, so I'm going to add myself to it, and I'm going to give me to it. I really appreciate people write checks. That's always important, but I want to see even more activism. We've got a very generous community. I know firsthand. Every Sunday morning I'm out there feeding, and I know a lot of our homeless community, which I think, by the way, we just don't include in our minds. Even though a lot of those people write checks to a lot of our great organizations that help. A lot of the same people probably wouldn't be caught actually being seen in public with some of these. And I'll be honest with you, I have focused so much on this philosophy that I have not had much of an income myself, so I am really financially strapped myself. But I give of myself where I can. Another part that sets me aside, and I won't go too much, I don't want to make a speech here and go unfair on the time, but as some of you know, I filed what I call the Community Cost Reduction Act. It's 28 words, does not create a bureaucracy, does not create a tax. It says the City of Bend is prohibited from using City of Bend resources to punish or restrict any person for the possession of cannabis in any form or quantity. We have wasted way too much time and too many of our community resources pursuing non-violent and peaceful people engaging in business, their producers and consumers. And we're not just talking about marijuana. In this, I talk about cannabis. That's so much about hemp. We've got to change our thinking about it. Before 80 years ago, before the drug war started, the world's economy was based on cannabis and marijuana and hemp production and consumption. And we need to rediscover the benefits of these plants. But beyond that, we need to take back our resources. And this is what people really have to understand. We are Bend, and this is us, and these resources are us. Our city council is us. We need to take back our city council. Thank you.